Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to Where Energy Meets the Divine. I'm your host, Manuchehri. I want to talk a little bit about June 9th, a couple days prior to today, because Cancer got a new friend, and I'm talking about the sign, the astrological sign of Cancer. I got a new friend, and that's the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is huge, right? It's a very large, expansive planet, and it is the planet of good luck. It is the planet for Sagittarius, and it's well known that Sagittarian people are very fortunate and lucky people. Even if weird stuff is happening in their life, like they're not playing the rules very well, they're creating problems in their life that are unnecessary, they're going to get out of it almost unscathed or barely scathed, because Jupiter is their home planet, and it's constantly surrounding them with great luck and positive outcomes and wonderful experiences. So now, right now, this powerful planet is in one of the best aspects it ever could be, because it is now in Cancer. And in Cancer, Jupiter expands even more. It's as if Jupiter and the sign Cancer are best friends, and they've just been given a credit card with unlimited amounts for spending and a limousine ride to one of the best shopping areas in the country or the world. And they can just shop all day, eat all day, shop all day, have some champagne. I'm not saying this is only about monetary. I'm just using that as an example that it's very fortunate, and that there's very little that could get in your way to cause problems. So because this is happening, and the last time it happened was between 2013 and 2014, you might want to look back at your life at that time and see what was the theme during that time in your life. The planet Jupiter will be in Cancer until June 30th, 2026. You have an entire year to really dream, maybe make a vision board, use what-if cards, really do your very best to stay in expansive energy as much as possible, because you have like the light of the universe shining upon you and everyone else on the planet for incredible opportunities. So when Cancer is hanging out with Jupiter, like it is for the next year, it's exalted. Again, meaning that Jupiter just makes Cancer happier, more fulfilled, more expansive. And the same is true for Jupiter. So there's really every opportunity you could possibly imagine that's knocking on your door. It could be beneficial for you to figure out where in your chart, so that means what house Cancer is in. It could be your actual sun sign. It could be that you were born a Cancer. It could be that it's in your rising sign, or it's your moon. One of my children, it's their moon sign, Cancer, which has a lot to do with family and just your own personal awareness. And so I've talked to her a lot about really spending more time with herself during this year, sneaking out away from the kids, getting time to just be with herself, and perhaps asking more for what she needs during this time period so she can have a lot more opportunities to dream and envision and really hunker down in her own personal well-being and her own life. So in order to find out what house it's in, and no, I'm not an astrologer, so don't ask me astrology questions. I probably won't know the answer. I could find it maybe, but I probably won't know the answer. Is that you need to find out what was the time you were born. So of course, the place, the date, and the time is necessary, because you need to find out what your rising sign is, your ascendant, to determine where everything is in terms of what planets are in what houses in your astrology chart. And once that's determined, then you can also figure out where Cancer is, because that's going to give you some information about what could be unfolding in your life. It could be something very deep and personal. It could be something highly subconscious that's going to be healed. There's so many unique things that could be happening. And because Cancer is exalted in And because Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer, it could affect every area of your life. But it's nice to know what areas could be highlighted so that you can stay alert to impressions. One of the things that I think is really important about being in a human body and experiencing life more spiritually isn't just feeling the connection of the divine. And of course, that's a powerful and amazing and wonderful thing. But learning to translate the information and the messages that you're getting, that's imperative, because you could have this wonderful moment with the universe. You're walking out in the woods or planting flowers in your garden or doing something that allows you to feel that spirit is close to you. And I guarantee you there are messages coming straight to your inbox of your consciousness. And because you may not have spent a lot of time learning how to translate intuition, then you don't get the full benefit of this encounter. Now, just feeling it or being in the beautiful light of a spiritual connection is amazing and is also incredibly wonderful. But translating the messages gives you more power, has a deeper understanding, helps you to stay on your yellow brick road. So when you're translating information, it's not about what your mind is telling you. It's about what your emotional response system is telling you. And I think we've talked about this a lot on this particular podcast, where you learn to ignore your logical mind and you hang out. It means kind of drop in the belly, wiggle your toes, feel your glute muscles. You want to be, meaning have your energy in the lower half of your body so you can sense from that perception, because that perception is where the intuition is. And there's an element of detachment. It's like we're getting away from the mind so we can detach from logic and move into intuitive information that's extremely helpful, especially during this time that Cancer is being upgraded, if you will, for all of us, with Jupiter beaming its powerful light of luck and divinity into all of our lives, because we all have Cancer somewhere in our chart. Everyone does, somewhere. And so it'd be great if you could look that up, find out what your birth time is, and use some of the beautiful formulas that are available online to have your houses projected to you so that you know where all of the lovely signs are in all of the corresponding houses for you. Okay. So on top of that, practice your what if questions, meditate more often, be very positive, allow your energy to be elevated because you want to take full advantage of this benevolent time. Full advantage as much as possible, because it's only a year, but a year is a long period of time to have this amazing union between Jupiter and Cancer. Okay, I'm going to go to the phone lines now and start listening to voicemails so that you can get your questions answered. If you're new to my podcast, thank you for liking and subscribing, and just head over to energyintuitive.com and leave a voicemail. Go to the podcast page with instructions. I will eventually get to your question. It could take months, but it's really fun. The process is delightful. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Kristin. I'm in Connecticut, and I've been dealing with extreme migraines during my cycle. And now that I'm older, they're increasing to sometimes be 7 days, and I feel that they're increasing more frequently. I've really tried everything, and I'm in a lot of pain. Nothing seems to help. Any thoughts would be wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome, Christine. I'm so sorry. I know how painful that can be. And of course, now your headaches are lasting much longer. That's certainly not fun whatsoever. The energetic cause for migraines or cluster headaches or people who have chronic headache conditions is blocking one's intuition. So it means you're very intuitive, like super, super psychic, but you're not listening to it. You may not believe that about yourself. It's highly possible no one taught you that. Even in my family that believed in intuition, I had no idea I was an intuitive until I was in my late 30s. I had no idea whatsoever. So it's not something that's talked about in families, certainly not in our educational system. Maybe friends talk about it more as they read books if they're interested in the topic. So we need to get you out of your head. What happens is highly psychic people, so this is the energetic reason, and all health issues are from energy not moving appropriately in certain areas of the body for emotional reasons. So what happens for you and many people like you who suffer from chronic headache conditions, they put a lot of energy in their brain and then they stuff it in there. And your third eye is very aware. It's highly conscious. It's from multiple lifetimes you worked on becoming and being and maintaining psychic energy. And you probably wanted to be aware of your intuitive gifts in this lifetime, but you have some fear about it or some discomfort. What probably happened is when you were a kid, perhaps you didn't get enough nurturing and you're probably highly sensitive. And so what happens to kids who are sensitive and they don't get enough nurturing, which could simply mean that people weren't listening to you, that you decided so that you wouldn't feel so disappointed to negate your emotional response system and go to your mind and stay connected to your logic so you could preview what's happening in your life and make decisions accordingly versus being in your emotional response system. Today, 2 of my grandkids were at the house and the grandkids were playing by this sideboard and one of them got their finger stuck in the door. So it hurt. She was crying and her mom goes over there and, comforts her. And I get the Band-Aids out, the ice. She has teeny tiny, little tiny cut, teeny tiny. And she sees this teeny tiny smear of blood and screams even more. And of course, we're just there listening, loving her, telling her we're sorry, not negating her emotions, not telling her to stop crying, just letting her have whatever experience she's having. So a lot of kids don't get that, even today, but more so in previous generations. So it makes sense from my intuitive perspective why you went to your head. And so now there's just too much energy in your brain. And you probably do have some hormonal aspects that are in flux, especially you notice this around your cycle, because the second chakra is highly connected to the third eye, because the second chakra is connected to the emotions, and being aware of one's emotions allows us to be more intuitive. So you have to learn how to get out of your brain. And I would recommend you start taking, if you don't already, some herbs to support your hormones, like something like Essence. Essence is actually formulated. It's an FDA approved product. I'll make sure we put a link in it. Well, I won't put the link, but somebody on my team will on YouTube. We'll make sure there's a link there. It's just herbs, but it's FDA approved and there's a different formula for each age group and it helps to balance hormones. So what happens when we're in our head all the time and we're really sensitive and we're psychic, we can trigger these headaches because we're ignoring it and our emotional response system is sad and we're not allowing ourselves to feel these sad feelings or whatever feelings we happen to be having. And so it can repress or create conflict, if you will, within the hormonal system for men or women. Another herbal formula that might work is called HPA Adapt. I talk about that a lot on this podcast. And no, I'm not a naturopath. I'm not an herbologist. So please ask your appropriate practitioner about herbal supplements, especially if you take any pharmacology, because herbs are powerful and they can interact with modern medicine. So you're going to have to embrace your intuition. You're going to have to learn how to feel your emotions. But that's exciting. I think that's really exciting for you. I want you to look at it that way. Like, you haven't done anything wrong. This is something you really want to learn so badly that your soul has allowed you, because you've asked your soul to do whatever it takes for you to be psychic in the physical realm while you're in a body. How exciting. I hope you feel that way about it too. I hope this excites you. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Ruth, and I'm calling you from Richmond, Virginia. I'm in nursing school, and eventually I'd like to work in hospice and or become a death doula.
Mm.
But here's the thing. I've been asleep most of my life. I think I might be one of the youngest souls you have as a listener. I feel like old souls, um, they don't, come here wondering why they're here for 50 years. And
Yes, they do.
or worse, maybe I'm one of those dreaded teenage souls. So I'd like to try and get some things right. Finally. And a medium told me recently that the reason I get this band around my head when I meditate, really strong band,
Mm-hmm.
is because the other side doesn't want me to have that connection.
That's not true.
For whatever reason. And if that's true, is being a death doula a fool's errand?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like being a death doula, to me, it's such a spiritual thing. And one of the few things that I know that I'm good at over the course of 50 years is I'm really good at making patients feel calm when they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that people love about me. And it's one of the few things that I really love about me. And, and so I want to follow that, but I don't want to follow a fool's errand I don't know. Maybe it's a dumb question, but that's the thing. I don't even know if it's a dumb question. So,
Not.
Any help would be appreciated. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome, Ruth. Thanks for calling. And thanks for going to nursing school. And you don't have to go to nursing school to be a death doula either, just so you know. But it could be a really fun profession, especially if you want to work in hospice. It could be really exciting, especially if you love being at the bedside. I guarantee you are an old soul. Young souls are not interested in death doulas or hospice whatsoever. They're more self-focused. Old souls, many of them lack self-worth and self-esteem. They have a poor sense of self. It's not uncommon at all. And many of them don't know what they came here for, really. So you're actually in the right crowd. So you're an old soul. You have a huge, gigantic heart chakra. It fills your entire chest cavity. It actually even leaks out a little bit of your chest cavity. And in a way, in a profound way, you already know what you want. You want to work with people in a way that brings you joy and brings them joy. And it feels good for you to be at the bedside of individuals and you make them calm. Old souls make people calm. They just do. So this is not a fool's errand. Oh, and do not listen to that medium. That was incorrect information. The universe believes in free will. So the universe is not out in the world treating us all like puppets and trying to get us to act in certain ways. The complete opposite is true. The universe is going, go ahead, my child, do whatever you want. So that band that you feel along the top of your head is actually your third eye pushing. So it's a great feeling. It's a positive one. What I would do if it were happening to me, and it did happen to me, is I would sit with that pressure and participate with it. I would hang out with it. I would sit with it. I would invite yourself to experience more of that feeling because this is your third eye talking to you. Hey, babe, I'm here. I'm coming out. I want to be a part of your life. I can actually see your third eye. It looks gorgeous, stunning. It winks at me. It's beautiful. I think your intuition is actually quite superb. So keep meditating, hang out with that band, finish nursing school, work in hospice, become a death doula. You're on the right track. Good job. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is P. I'm using the first initial of my first name. I live in New York, and I have a question about something I've always been curious about. When I was around 5 years old, I was sleeping in bed one night, and from where I was situated in the bed, you could see straight down the small hallway, which led into a small walk-in closet. And one night, I thought I heard a loud, booming male voice coming from the closet. And it said, hello. And he said my full first name, and he said some other things. I can't remember them now. And then at the end, he laughed like, ha, ha, ha. And at the time, this terrified me. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. And the next day, I told everyone in my family, and my parents thought I was just imagining things. My siblings totally believed me.
Right.
They would sometimes ask me to like do the voice because it was all like scary and spooky and stuff.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was afraid to sleep. I always had to make sure that that closet door was like shut tight before I went to bed. And I would try to scooch over in bed so I couldn't see down this dark hallway. And fast forward, now that I'm an adult, I've been on this path of trying to develop communication with my spirit guides. And now I'm wondering if that voice that I heard could have been a spirit guide.
Ding, ding, ding.
And if it was, could that mean that I'm clairaudient? And if I am, how can I develop this? Because I'm sure I shut it down at the time out of fear. And if I'm not clairaudient, do you see any other clairs I can develop while I'm on this journey of trying to communicate with my spirit guides effectively? Thanks for your insights and thanks for all you do.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, P. Thanks for your story. I love your story. I wish we would talk to kids about spirituality when they're young, because children are so fresh from the other side. They have a lot of their psychic abilities still very much intact. They haven't been taken from them yet. And I don't mean like humans forcefully take the intuitive realm away from children, but we kind of socialize it out of them. We want kids to all be the same. I think those things are changing. Now I look at my grandkids and their individualization is considered a lot more precious than I think than previous generations. So that was your spirit guide. Yes, that's your primary guide. So that means this guide is by your side at all times. You have 11 spirit guides, and that comes down to number 2 in numerology, because we add up the numbers until we get to a single digit. 1 + 1 = 2. It also means that relationships are good for you. It doesn't have to be partnerships, but relationships are good for you. It certainly can mean partnerships. So your siblings believed you because they're also, fresh from the other side, fresh from God. And so they knew it was true. And he loves you deeply. Your spirit guide does. You are, of course, clairaudient because you heard. But all clairaudient people, when that's their primary gift, it means they have all the clairs, because it is actually the most challenging to get the mind to be quiet so that we can hear the multisensory world. It means you have all the clairs. So you're clairvoyant. What to do? So I do have I think it's on Audible now because the publisher isn't producing CDs anymore. Makes sense. I don't even have a CD player anywhere. I don't have one in my car. I think I have a boombox somewhere. But none of the computers I own have CD access. But Audible has how to communicate with your spirit guides. And I think it's also incredibly affordable. And it's a 6 CD or 6 downloads. And there's a lot of great instructions about connecting with your spirit guides. But overall, when it comes to communicating with anything that's multisensory, you got to sit away from your brain. You have to learn how to detach. You have to learn to be in the nothingness. That means you have to surrender. You have to get rid of your agendas. And also in your case and many other people's activities when they're working on helping their multisensory ability is to be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, be sweet to yourself, because your spirit guide loves you. So there's this powerful, loving energy always coming from the universe and every aspect of universal intelligence that we experience. And when we're not loving, there's a disconnect. When we're not loving to ourselves, there's a disconnect and we can't always hear or see or feel. And that's what I heard. I'm highly clairvoyant, but the universe, I have all the clairs, right? The universe will speak to me when I'm talking because maybe I can't focus on my clairvoyance as much when I'm doing a podcast, right? So what I heard is that you really do need to be nice to yourself. Really nice to yourself, very loving. This will trigger a wonderful connection for you and help you expand your multisensory natural talent. So I'm so glad you met your spirit guide when you were 5. Congratulations. That's quite remarkable. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. I'm Victoria Lowry from Ohio. I too found you after listening to your interview with Alex Ferrari. I've since binge listened to your shows and found so much that speaks to me. I have a question. I've been looking for the right person to ask it to, and here you are. So, I see people when I close my eyes. It's lots of different people from many races, locations, and time periods.
Right.
I've seen Buddha, Gandhi, an old man fishing by the sea, Cleopatra, and many not famous faces from modern day.
Right.
Most of the time, it's just a person and no setting at all. It's never anyone I know personally.
Right.
It can happen any time of the day, but mostly in the mornings when I first wake up and continue to lay in a meditative state.
Yeah.
I receive lots of insight during these times, which I understand, but I have no idea about the people. There have been times when as many as 30 will rifle through my mind's eye one after the other.
Yep.
They're in color and very clear, although lately they've been a little fuzzy. I don't sense any message from them, and I have no fear, only a feeling along the lines of them wanting to see me.
Yeah.
At first, I looked at it as a one-way experience, like I was watching them as you would in a dream. Then it occurred to me to try to communicate. So I started with a smile, and sometimes I receive a smile back. But they almost seem like kind of surprised, and they only stay for a few seconds, and then they vanish. It's been happening for about 4 years that I can remember. I'd really like to understand this. Also, my life is going through many changes, both personally and professionally. I'm a writer with a book that should be a movie.
Yay.
I have desires to teach my 6 master skills to ascending our energy.
Great.
But I also receive much joy just being in my garden. I feel sure you would say to follow my joy, but I also have the constant nagging feeling that there's something more I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you would read my energy and provide your insight, it could be really helpful. Thanks so much. What a tremendous gift you give in these shows. I appreciate you very much.
Of course, it's my pleasure. So, I know exactly what this means. It means you're a medium. When someone on earth has natural medium abilities, and go teach that class. It sounds amazing. Go get that book published. Like, get going. You live in a physical reality, so you have to take action actually to make things happen. I remember the first class I taught, only because my clients kind of pushed me, harassed me into teaching. I had no plan on teaching. I was just going to have an energy medicine practice and take care of people with health issues. And that was it. That I was so fulfilled and deeply grateful, as I still am today, to be able to see, hear, and feel energy and to lead people to better understandings of their health and well-being, many people. But my clients kept harassing me. That's how I felt, because I'm like, no, I'm not going to teach. I was really shy for a big part of my life. And when people start to expand, you drop away personality traits that really are not a part of your authenticity. It doesn't mean I don't have moments of shyness. I do, but I don't think that's a true aspect of my real self. So I rented the library of an elementary school in Seattle because my clients, some of their children went to that school, and it was very affordable. And I found out on day one, I love to teach. Love to teach. It makes me extremely happy. So you have to take action, even if the action doesn't seem very big. Like, I didn't think that teaching was going to have such a big effect in my life, that I would teach online to hundreds of people at a time. That never occurred to me. In truth, honestly, I didn't care. I had so much fun standing up in the Darling school library and teaching to lovely people who were kind enough to come to the class. So when a person who is a medium, which you are, this is not up for debate, when they're meant to allow this gift to be born, if you will, which it's already been born, but you haven't recognized it. At least I don't know you very well, but that's not something you said in your question. When it's time for it to be born, beings from the other side, so souls who are crossed over, who were on Earth, not necessarily Cleopatra or Buddha, but when you're psychic, you can see any being or hear or feel or connect to any being you want, even if you don't know that you want that, right? Your crown chakra, and this is true for all intuitives and psychics, gets so huge, it goes all the way into the heavens, and departed loved ones whose family members live close to you or could have a connection with you will come to you, especially at night, or in your case, first thing in the morning, and kind of surround your bed, trying to get you to, could you go be a medium? Because you take the bus with my daughter every morning at 8 a.m. and I'd love to come sit next to you and have you communicate to her so she knows that I'm here and that I love her. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. You're a medium. Yay! Yay. We need lots of mediums. I'm so busy. I can't, and I'm one person. I can't help everyone. No one can. So, okay. All right. Now you've got your homework. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Adrienne from Denver. My question today for you is about my left hip. I've had an injury that kind of comes back on and off for about a year. It's just, I don't know, something muscular internal. I thought it was initially triggered from working out, and that is typically when it gets activated again, is through, working out and lifting weights. I know there's always an underlying reason for all of our physical ailments. So curious what you can tell me about this. I know you say hips are typically about moving forward in life, and I do feel like I'm moving forward in my life, but maybe I'm not going in the right direction or not going fast enough, or I don't know, maybe there's just something there that you can help shed some light on, and would just love to maybe have you draw all my energy and see about my chakras and how they look, and if there's anything else that I can do to best support myself. And I would absolutely love to know how many spirit guides I have. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Adrienne. Too many questions, so I'm going to ask what I think, or answer. I'm going to answer what I think is necessary. So you're right. Hips are about moving forward in one's life. And I too was trying to find the theme of that as you were speaking and I was reading your energy, and I did draw out your chakras. I'm just not going to go over all of them because that's going to take way too much time. But you have a significant leak of energy in your first chakra. And the first chakra governs the hips all the way down to the toes, along with the colon, the coccyx, the sciatic nerves, all the blood in the body, all the blood. That means bone marrow too, and all the bones. It's a really important vortex. It also connects to the first layer of the auric field and feeds energy into that first layer, which is a hologram of all of our anatomy and physiology and complete and total health. So we've got to get rid of this leak. So what that means is even when you get the hip stable or stop exercising for a while or whatever you've done in the past to alleviate the discomfort, because you have a leak, it's going to keep coming back. So subatomic particles that are meant to nurture that part of your body are not sustained. They're just falling out through the root chakra, which is the tip is in the pelvic floor, and then the vortex extends to mid-thigh. So in other words, you're not grounded. And I know you wouldn't feel that way because you are someone who pays attention to details. So that is an act of being grounded, paying attention to the physical space. But you have a significant leak here, significant. It can be from a loss, and it doesn't have to be the death of someone. It could be that you moved across the country or you had to change your job. It could be a best friend moved across the country and you don't get to see them anymore. One of my friends, her best friend moved one state over, and it was really hard for her to readjust to someone that she just adores, living several hours away versus a few minutes. So I think you have some first family issues you need to look at. I do. I think you have some childhood stuff that you don't want to address, or You didn't think it was a problem. Perhaps do some inner child work, early infancy. And so that means imagining that you're carrying around an infant that's you, and you're nurturing and caring for this tiny, gorgeous, beautiful, smart, incredible creature. And as I'm speaking to you about this, the arrows are starting to turn so that the energy can go back into the first chakra. So that's what this is about. And then I think you're going to be able to move forward in a whole bunch of areas of your life in ways that you never anticipated, because you're going to start to get subatomic particles into the rest of the lower extremities. Okay, so that's what I'm answering. I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. I hope that you take advantage of Jupiter being in Cancer. Or is it Cancer? I think Jupiter is in Cancer. That's versus Cancer's in Jupiter. I hope you take advantage of it. Keep your energy elevated. Be very kind and loving to yourself, because Jupiter is a high vibrational planet. So when you keep your subatomic particles, your energy system in high vibration, you're attracting more of that Jupiter energy. And it's blessing your life right now. It's blessing all of our lives. So let's take advantage of it. Have a lovely day. Thank you for being here. I'm sending all my love to all of you. Bye-bye.